I was reading recently that New York is thinking of changing their system so that when guys get released from prison, the felonies they committed are not visible any longer to employers. It's like an automatic expungement once you've served your time. That people can no longer see that felony. Law enforcement will still be able to see it. I think that's the way they're going to do it, but not employers. And finally, a state, if they in fact do that, and anybody that's from New York can hit me up in the comments if you know whether or not they've actually implemented that yet. But I'm thinking finally a state that is doing something that makes sense. Because if you release a guy into society with felonies on his record that prevent him from being able to get a job, and then tell him don't commit any more crime, that's kind of like telling him to mow your lawn and then taking the lawnmower away, right? I mean, he can still do it, picking the grass with his hands or using a scissors or something like that, but this is going to be a practically impossible task because people got to eat. Eating is fundamental. Shelter is not cheap. Clothes, transportation, all that. So this all costs a lot of money, and you can go out there and beg. But if you're an able-bodied man, if you don't have any visible disability or something like that, you're probably not going to pull more than like $20 a day doing that. And that's not going to cut it for all those expenses just to keep yourself alive, right? I mean, we're not talking like, walking around in designer. We're just talking about living, surviving. So when a judge makes a determination that the security risk is low enough to where a guy can be released back out into society where he can be around the general public, employers' determinations need to be congruous with that. And if they're not, then they need to be unaware of it so that this guy can get a job, because the judge ultimately is the one that has made that determination. And, like I said, you don't want to have guys becoming armed habituals because they, turn to crime out of necessity, or out of they get pressed into that situation by the circumstances of life. There are guys who make a career out of being criminals because they love the criminal lifestyle, but that's something different. You don't want to punish the guys who really are trying honestly to make a dollar the legal way. In our state, though, they haven't got to that point yet, and there's a lot of guys out there in the streets right now who really don't want to be in the streets. And they get locked back up again and again and again. They try to get jobs everywhere. Nobody will hire them. And I can tell you guys firsthand, McDonald's, like Burger King, Walmart, Jewel, they will not hire you. You can't even get a job there if you've got felonies on your record, really like within the last 10 years, and if they're violent, even probably before that. If you got caught with weed, or you did something, you got like a DUI or something like that, they might let that stuff like that go. But I mean, shootings, armed robberies, like anything like that, you can forget it. You're not going to get nothing, okay? Especially if you've got something like within the last couple of years. So guys try what they can. Some guys try, rap or sports or stuff like that. But these are long shots, right? To be able to make it in rap, that's a long shot. And you got to have money just to push your music in the first place. You got to have money even to get off the ground on that. Somebody's got to bankroll that. Most guys don't have that. Sports, you got to have time to train. And if you're out on the street, or you're trying to just make a dollar to survive to the next day, that's practically impossible to do. Plus, if you're already in your 20s or 30s, your chance is over. So one thing that some guys have discovered, though, is that today, with social media, with YouTube, with TikTok, Spotify, these other platforms, you can make a decent dollar with no training. Okay, don't have to go to school. Nobody's doing any background checks on this. Okay, you don't have to have a clean background to upload videos to YouTube or do any of this stuff. And it's obviously totally legal, and you're your own boss. YouTube can strike you or whatever, and these other platforms, I know they might be able to do that too, but that's one of the reasons why Spotify is a little bit better, and I'm going to start uploading more on that. I've only uploaded a couple videos to that channel so far, but they're not as strict as YouTube as far as guidelines. Probably starting about a year ago, I saw guys who were former gang members, former street guys, started getting into this blogging stuff. Now, as usually happens, when guys start to make like legal money moves, the other guys that are still in the street start hating on them and dissing them and making fun of them and stuff. Well, you see this all the time, like with guys that work 9 to 5s, who have very. I'm not going to say any names, but we all know like certain guys that got made fun of severely because they were making an honest living, um, while being rappers and still being gang members. And that's something, like I said, if you have that option to get a legal job, it's time to leave the streets alone. Matter of fact, I was on the bus the other day with there were 3 guys. They were about 17, 18 years old. They were sitting in the back and they were having like a little miniature gang meeting in the back of the bus. There was like some Puerto Rican kids, teenagers, and they were talking about like this very issue. Like they were talking about gang stuff, but they were saying like, if you got a job, forget it. Don't hang with us. Like don't come around us if you got a job. There's no need for you to be doing anything other than just working your job. These guys are getting hated on now based on the numbers they're doing, man. This is better than anything that really anybody could get. I would say even with like a basic college degree, with like a bachelor's degree, based on the numbers these guys are doing. I'm gonna let you guys in on kind of like an open secret. Before I gave that last channel up to Pastor Brooks, that channel was at about 103K subscribers, right? And I was doing maybe about 10 to 15K average per video views. Now that's low compared to what some of these guys are doing. Some of these guys are doing 30 to 50K average. And when you've got a name like some of these guys have, just your name alone is going to make the video pop, just because of all the stuff they've been in, and just their name in general, like being affiliated with who they're affiliated with. If you're like from a famous set or something like that, you could make a video about how to make a bowl of cereal. It's going to do some type of numbers, like anything. And this is with minimal effort. You just hop on live. Like, notice some of these guys, they're not doing these highly sophisticated edited videos with like, and I don't either, but I'm just saying like, talking into the camera. That's it. Not editing anything out, just straight up talking. And these videos will do 80, 90K if it's on a hot topic. Because people care more about the topic than like the visual effects and stuff. Before I got off YouTube last year, when I had about 100K subscribers, like 10 to 15K views average per video, I was making over $1,000 a week off of YouTube. Now that turns out to be like mid 50s, okay, over the course of a year. I wasn't making that the whole 2021 because I wasn't involved in this other stuff, this case and everything. But towards the end, like from the summer towards the fall, I was like uploading more and more, if you guys remember, and I was making about $1,000 at least, usually more, per week. Some of these guys, okay, like if the video that I did that made me the most money was my Jackie Montanez video. It was just a case update. It was about 20 minutes long. The video took me a few hours to make. That video got about 300 and something K views. Okay, on a 20-minute video, I put about 4 ads on the video. That video, last time I had checked, had made me $1,500, $1,500. Now the money comes in based on the number of ads. Okay, it's not necessarily the views. So like a video that's only 3 minutes long, but only has 1 ad on it, if it does like 1 million views, it's not going to make as much as you think it would make because there's only 1 ad. But the longer videos that people watch all the way through, when they've got 4 or 5 ads on that thing, those things are like raking in serious money, man. Now some of these bloggers, like, well, I shouldn't say the names, but like these guys that do these like 10, 15-minute live videos, that these things are doing like 500-600K views. Okay, and I know some of the interviews too on YouTube these guys do with other gang members. These things are doing like 500,000 views. These things are 10, 15 minutes long. If there's like I said, if there's like multiple ads on the video, these things could do $2,000. Just that one upload. And this is something that could take them like a half an hour to make total. Okay, because a lot of these guys are not even editing this stuff. You can live off that, bro. Like, you can live off I mean, you're not going to be rich, but if you do that every day, I'm telling you, with the name some of these guys have, like any gang member that has a name, okay, can instantly, his channel is going to instantly pop. It's not going to take him time to grow. He's instantly going to get to 50K subscribers, and he's going to start doing, 30, 40,000 views a video if he talks about hot stuff. And the thing about blogging too is that you don't have to be negative. That's why it's so much better than rap. In the blog, you notice some of these guys, they spit positive stuff that you couldn't say in like you can't be a there's no such thing as a positive drill rapper. Like, that's a contradiction in terms. Like, drill rap itself is by definition like negative and just like bullcrap. It's not something I even ever recommend doing at all. Like, drill rap is a way to just get killed, but blogging, you can be positive and still do the same numbers or better numbers, because you got guys tuning into this who want to hear that. Like, they don't want to hear you get on there and like talk about this gang. They want you to hear, spit some positive stuff to the youth. And you can do that with blogging. And some of these guys do that. They say like a lot more honest, real stuff. Now they're getting hate from the streets. Okay. Streets are hating on them. This is exactly though what guys say again and again about how when you start to do something good for yourself, everybody else is going to try and drag you down. That's a sign to keep going even harder with it. Now, I don't recommend doing the kind of stuff that I, often did or used to do. Because if you get on that negative stuff, blogging can put your life in danger too, big time. And I've had a few really close calls, man. Really close calls. And I'm not even a guy who should have been in that position in the first place, because I was never in, gangbang or anything like that. But these guys already have ops. So, but blogging is a better idea, in my view, than interviewing. And I'm not saying this I'm not saying this to sneak this 16 or whatever. He's doing his thing, and that's his business. But the interviewing thing is, as you saw with Zach TV, that's dangerous because you have to constantly link up with people. And these are people that you might not even know. You got to go to different hoods. I think 16 might have his own studio now, but what Zach was doing was highly dangerous. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm surprised that he even lasted as long as he did doing that, because I mean, just going to these guys' neighborhoods and then like putting them on camera while they're dissing their ops, and you're just pulling up on the block, like that's so dangerous, man. So I don't recommend doing that, because the blogging thing, you can just do that from the comfort of your crib, and there's like minimal risk. You still are going to have to watch how you move. I don't recommend anything that puts certain guys on blast, or like gasses up any of these like gang members, because there's always bound to be people that feel some type of way about that. You got to remember, when you're gassing certain guys' names in the streets, you got to remember these guys got those names probably by hurting other people. Okay, so those people got their people that are watching your video. You don't want to go into that territory. But just being honest about, what goes on out there, and telling your story and everything, telling your life and how you got involved in that, and offering solutions to the violence that's going on out here, can take guys a long way. As long as you keep it positive, that's the most important thing, man. Keep this stuff positive, because going negative can literally endanger your life, or at least like burn bridges, between you and other people in the city. Now, some of those bridges are going to be burned just by people hating on the fact that you're doing well. But this thing pays, man. Like this thing, and that's just YouTube. If you go on, I know on like TikTok, you can get like endorsement deals or whatever. You go on Spotify, they pay you pretty well on there off of Anchor FM. You guys can do podcasts. There's definitely options with these social media platforms for guys who don't want to go back to the streets and want to be able to make an honest living. You can make decent money. Again, you're not going to be filthy rich, with this genre, because there's a ceiling in this genre. You see some of these other channels on YouTube that got like millions and millions of subscribers, and off this stuff. You're not going to do that in this genre. But then again, like, all of us aren't cut to do stuff that's going to get us to that level, and that's okay. Like, there's an honest living, just covering what goes on in the city, because people want to hear it from the perspective of somebody that's actually been in it. Guys like me and guys like some of these newscasters, we come in like, and even though I might be from the city, like, I'm not part of that life. So guys are at the end of the day always see me as a culture vulture and like somebody that's like exploiting the violence that goes on. And these guys that are actually living it, they have a credential that really you can't even get in school, having been through that stuff. Like, that's a kind of training and a kind of credential on its own. But as long as they go positive, and say stuff to help the youth steer away from that, the sky's the limit. I mean, on this, man, the sky's the limit, bro. I mean, some of these guys could be making like multiple thousands of dollars a week, maybe six figures, okay, a year, on this YouTube blogging stuff. I mean, we're talking for an hour a day, 2 hours a day, getting on YouTube and just uploading some stuff about your life, because there's that many people fascinated in it. So yeah, man, shout out to everybody doing positive, making positive moves out there. I understand how hard it is, not able to get a job with that felony, but yeah, these are other options. Don't listen to the haters, man. Telling people like you guys are the police or you guys are lame and stuff like that. Look at the rappers. Well, the rappers snitch every single verse. So they didn't have a problem with you doing that. But now they got a problem with you doing this. Is more positive if you keep it that way. Some guys go negative, or they go negative sometimes and then positive the other times. I don't recommend doing that. You stay positive, man. Don't listen to the haters. Your boy Winnie Report. I'm out.